Yes, the theme tune's a bit better than that, but this is WCCW from the World Class Championship Wrestling, Texas area, from 10th of March 1984. Journey. No, that's a bit later, isn't it? No, it's around this time, isn't it? Yeah, Journey. They were around. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, I'm not going to do this week, I thought I might, the special piece around David Von Erich, who had passed recently, much to absolute surprise and such upset, of course, that aired the week before in 84. I'm not going to do that this week because this is only the second WCCW review on A Plus Productions. Yes, Steve Swiss Rambling Reviews for A Plus Productions. Blooming marvellous. And I want to get a few of those under my belt before I go back to that special programme. Because I want people to see who's in, who's out, who's doing well, who's perhaps forgotten, and what angles there are, what feuds there are, and all of that. So, we'll start with Bill Mercer in a very busy sport coat. I mean, it's grey and black and white, and the checks on it, I mean, it's extraordinary. It looks like the map of the city. You could go from one end of the city to the other on that coat alone. Now, Mark Lawrence, who's doing the announcing, he often feels like he's really diffident. The winner of the match is... But it tells us that this is the only promotion seen throughout the world. I'm not sure. I think there are other promotions that might... I mean, maybe he's right, actually. In 84, he could be right. I mean, it's a big claim to make, isn't it? And it's doing very well, WCCW at this time. Now, Chick Donovan is facing Mike Bond. Chick is apparently a well-built lad, according to Bill Mercer, and you know he is the one that WCCW are looking to push. He is, according to Bill Mercer, a bit like Michael P.S. Hayes from the back. Well, there's a slight resemblance. They've both got blonde hair, but Chick Donovan is a well-built lad. He's a surfer dude type, and it's all right. There's a handshake from Chick Donovan to show that he's a nice guy, a good guy. It's cagey to begin with. There's an arm drag from Donovan, and immediately Bond complains to ref Bronco Lubitsch. David Manning will be a ref later on as well in another match. Oh yes. He complains that the hair was pulled. Immediately. He'll do that later on as well. There's a leg drop on the arm from Chick Donovan. And by the way, Jimmy Garvin, who is in a feud, of course, with Gentleman Chris Adams. Gentleman Chris Adams, from Blighty, you know, from the good old U of K. Yes, he's stolen Gentleman Chris Adams' US Championship belt. He's not the champion, Bill tells us. He makes sure he tells us that, but he's just stolen the belt. That's an easy way of doing it, isn't it? Now, Chris Adams will be fighting later on. Do you think that Jimmy Garvin might join him at ringside? I don't know. It's a wrestling promotion and program. What do you think? Anyway, back to this match. We've got a headlock that's worked by Mike Bond, and then Donovan gets a headlock as well. It's worked, but I want something a bit different. There's a Donovan hammerlock. Not that. Not a hammerlock, Chick. Something a bit better than that. Then you've got some mat work, actually. You've got Bond getting a head scissors, and Donovan getting out, then hitting a high cross body, and getting the pin from that. I know it's 84, but I wouldn't expect that as a finishing manoeuvre. Would you? I don't think so. Okay, let us talk about Chris Adams versus Kelly Kiniski. Right, now, Kelly Kiniski is the son of Gene Kiniski, who was there last week telling us how his son, if you pay $1 to see him, I think, you get a $10 match or something like that. Well, actually, I mean, I didn't see that last week, but this week, I think I might have done, you know. He did not take it to Chris Adams, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because last week he was clearly a face. Chris Adams is incredibly popular. I mean, he's catnip to the ladies at this point. Catnip to the ladies, folks. Yes. And he's very popular. Of course, he's with his valet, Sunshine, his friend, Sunshine. The crowd love her as well. And it's difficult, isn't it? It forces Kiniski to play the heel a bit. I don't know whether they've decided he was going to be, but at the moment he is. So, I'm not quite sure why you put Kiniski in with Chris Adams. You could put, I don't know, Lanny Poffo in there. He's not in the promotion, is he? Is Rude in the promotion? I think he is he? But anyway, you don't need to put Kelly Kiniski in there, do you? He's forced to heel it up, and he does a bit. There's an arm drag, a hip toss from Adams, because anything you could do, I could do, etc. There's a drop kick from Adams, and Kiniski bails. Mercer now calls the finisher a super kick. He'd never called it that before. First time that he's referred to Adams as his finisher, and it was the first time I think it had ever been seen. A kind of karate kick, I suppose. First time it's been called a super kick. Yeah. I think it was called the quick kick before. Super kick is so much better. And we get a test of strength. Kiniski throws Chris Adams across the top rope. That's naughty. Hits a forearm, a swinging neck breaker for a 2 count. And then we get a back elbow from Kiniski. Mercer's rather ragging on him. So he is playing the heel here, I think. And then you get fantastic move by Adams. Fantastic move. Well, actually, Bill, what he did was move out of the way of another move from Kiniski. If that's called a fantastic move, then I want a fanfare when I get out of this chair. You will have a fanfare, but of creaks and groans. Okay, there's a drop kick, and Kiniski ends up on the outside. He's brought back in the hard way by a suplex. Then Garvin and Precious are out. I told you, didn't I? Adams slams Kiniski, but Garvin is talking to him, has the belt, I'm the champion, all of that. And in the distraction, Kiniski rolls up Adams for the pin. That's very naughty. We're completely forgetting the match. As soon as Garvin attacks Adams, his arms are wrapped up in the ropes, he taunts him. Sunshine then gets in and smacks Garvin with the belt. It's a really good move because the fans love her. Precious doesn't really get involved here. Adams gets free, hits a super kick, and then it's odd really, a bit odd, because Garvin's taken his belt, so he must take something Garvin's got. So he takes Garvin's clothing. Now, he doesn't strip him of all of his, down to his tighty whities or anything. He doesn't do that. His Speedos aren't out, but he takes his jacket off, and it's one of those things that is segmented so he can take all that, and takes them away. So he's got his ring attire, and he's left in his trunks, which is where what he'd be wrestling in anyway, so I don't quite understand. It's not risque, it's just, I suppose it's a bit of fun, but not very much. Okay, this is the debut of Hacksaw Butch Reed. My God, I love Hacksaw Butch Reed. Love his work. He should have been a bigger star. He really should. And he's facing Mike Reed. Okay, if you've got someone called Reed, you probably don't want another wrestler called Reed in with them, do you? But here we've got it. So you've got Reed giving a headlock to Reed. I mean, you've got the pictures to go with it, but even so. I mean, Butch Reed throws Mike Reed down, slaps on a head scissors, gets a back suplex, which is nice. Mike Reed comes off the ropes and rather helps with the backdrop. Kind of jumps into it, really. And there's a military press slam, which I love that move from Hacksaw, and a flying shoulder tackle. It's like a missile for the pin. Love it. Now listen, the Freebirds have got a Bad Street album out, and it made me go and have a look at Michael Hayes' album. He's got an album out, folks. He had it out years ago. I can't wait to hear it. In fact, I've started listening to it, and the first track's a bit of soul. I expected Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. But that's not what you get. That's on there, but I can't wait to review it. I can't wait. Anyway, we've got him talking about the album doing so well, and we've got Bad Street to a montage of their matches. They're really selling the album, and I am buying it, let me tell you that. Now, your main event is, it's a good little event, this. Kevin Von Erich, oldest of the Von Erichs, we're told by Bill, he's got it all at his fingertips, all of it, versus Terry Gordy. Bam, bam, yeah. And he hits a swinging neckbreaker, in fact 2 of them, gets the Oriental Spike, which is his thumb, what he calls his thumb, the Oriental Spike. Yeah, I might call my big toe, I don't know, the Tower of Doom. I could call it that, couldn't I? But it just would be a big toe, really. Anyway, he jabs it into Kevin Von Erich's throat, and then holds on, puts him in a headlock. Von Erich gets to the ropes, then Von Erich puts the claw on, because if you're using the spike, I'll raise your spike and use the claw. Gordy gets to the corner and the ropes there. Then there's a sort of Gordy clothesline. They start fighting. There is a DQ, and they won't stop fighting. The locker room empties out, but only with the people that we would expect wouldn't lose face if they got beaten up by either of them. So people like Mike Reed, for instance, he's out again. Hacksaw Butch Reed isn't out because it would hurt him if he was smacked by Gordy, quite literally and also figuratively. So anyway, eventually, they won't stop fighting, folks. They won't stop fighting. Out comes Michael Hayes, who says, Bam Bam, come here. No, leave it, you've won already, leave it. Interesting, isn't it? See, that's the thing about the Freebirds. Always do what you don't expect. That's why they're so blooming good. And actually, this episode's pretty good. It's not great, but then this is 1984, folks, and things weren't great. Well, they are in some promotions. They are in Mid-Atlantic, for instance. But maybe this will hot up. It better do, because right now, it's a bit lukewarm. Ta-ta.